Good afternoon and hi everyone. I'm Yamuna, a Petronas Law Scholar currently doing my A-levels at UCSI College, and I would be your MC for today. Welcome to the much anticipated Post-SPM Blueprint organized by none other than BASE Initiative. Also, before we start today's workshop, we'd love to see your faces, so feel free to turn on your cameras. We're really hoping for a lively and interactive session today, so please don't be shy about interacting through the react buttons. Just make sure you're muted for now, so that we can focus on our speakers later on. Okay, now, before we start, could I get a show of hands from those who are ready to dive deep into the basis of post-SPM scholarships? That's the spirit, guys. I'm pretty sure that the speakers are also very excited to share their insights with you today. So without further ado, let me introduce the speakers lineup for today. We are enriched by the appearance of AMISO, the Council Movement TKM, UKEC, and none other than our lovely base committee members. I'll move on to do a quick run through for today's events flow. After I wrap up the first part of today's workshop with an ice-breaking session, the flow continues with Dream, Build, Grow at 3:05, followed by Compete for Impact at 3:30 with a featured AMISO member. At 4, a representative from TKM speaks on volunteering, leading to a 4:30 break and a career quiz. The final stretch starts at 4:40 with a session with UKEC on upskilling, then we'll move on to 5:20 on CVs and LinkedIn, and conclude with a 5:40 session on pre-U pathways before closing up at 6. Our main aim today is simple. We want to help you guys turn these next 3 months into a massive head start. We are here to show you how to use this break so that when scholarship season rolls around, you aren't panic typing your application right before the deadline, but instead you're sitting back thinking, I'm so glad I attended this session months ago. Now that that's out of the way, I would like to get to know you guys better. So let's move on to do a short quiz on your opinions or goals regarding post-SPM scholarships. You may scan the QR code on the screen to access the link, and then you can share on your opinions for the questions that we are going to present soon. For those that can't access the QR code, you may also access this platform through the link given in the chat box. All right, so starting out with our first question, please feel free to answer this question. What is your number one dream scholarship? Okay, I see that there is various scholarships that you guys are aiming for. All right. I see that everyone already has their eyes on these amazing scholarships. I see the screen getting flooded with various different companies that provide scholarships to you guys. Today, we'll be learning how to secure them and be one step closer to it. All right. So let me get to know you guys better and what is your passion or what is your ideal field of study that you're planning to go ahead on for your degree? All right, I see a varying passion abstract here, from STEM-based to humanities. You guys are definitely a very versatile group I see here. Our sessions on upskilling and also passion projects will help you guys stand out in any of these fields that you guys plan to choose upon. All right, moving on. As we know, these companies offer both local and also overseas scholarship. So which one do you guys prefer? Okay, I see both overseas, local. All right, I see overseas dominating it the most. But we have a great mix of both. Don't worry if you are aiming for global education or looking to contribute to our local institutions. As long as you secure a scholarship, I'm pretty sure you're already destined to success. Moving on, especially for those that wanted to pursue their degree overseas, What is your top destination country? All right, UK, Japan. I personally am going to be furthering my studies in the UK. But don't worry, guys, no matter where you want to go, your scholarship bodies will definitely send you to the countries where your degree is best suited for your study. Lastly, in one word, what does a scholarship mean to you? All right, so I see a lot of opportunity as an answer.
Can I close my...
Okay, I see varying answers, but ultimately I can see that everyone is hoping for a scholarship. You don't have to worry because BASE is here to help you along the way. Thank you all for participating in this ice-breaking session. Now that that is wrapped up, I hope everyone is feeling warmed up and ready to dive into the rest of our schedule here today. But before that, I'd like to remind you again that if there should be any inquiries that arise, please hold your questions if the session hasn't ended yet. And then at the end of the session, you may scan the QR code that will be presented on the screen to submit your questions to the speakers that would be presenting them. Thank you all for the energy, and let's start off today's workshop. To kick things off, let's welcome James Lowe, Alden Gunn, Akil Hilmi, and Akil Muklis to share how you can dream, build, and grow through your very own passion projects.
Okay, hello everyone. Hi. How are you guys doing? Everyone good? Can we see some reactions in the chats? Oh, okay. Lots of hearts, lots of hearts. I love it. Okay. Great. So to start things off, hi everyone. My name is Akil. I'm a Petronas scholar currently at KYUEM, and I'm going to be pursuing geology and geophysics in the future. So in this session with me today, I have four other scholars of BASE Initiative to conduct the session. So they will be sharing their story and then their own like personal experience related to dream, build, and grow. So first of all, can we say hi to Jimmy? Jimmy, can you say hi to the rest?
Hi, I'm Jimmy.
And then Eldon,
Everyone, I'm Eldon.
and then we have James.
Hi guys, this is James.
And last but not least, Arshad.
Hello, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Arshad. So for those who don't know, Arshad is also the president of BASE Initiative 2526. So it's really amazing actually to have him here to share his like story. Okay, so now that we have got to know everyone, let's dive into this session. Let's dive into the meat and potatoes. So this topic is about passion projects. So do you guys know what a passion project is? Can we have a raise of hands who here have heard of the word passion project? Maybe some reactions, thumbs up for those that know about it. Okay. All right. So a lot of you actually know about passion projects. But for those of you who don't know, a passion project is basically a self-initiated activity that you start on your own and it's based off of your personal interests or your passion. And it's basically like your brainchild. You make it yourself, you start the initiative by yourself, and it's happens because you want to achieve a certain goal. So these goals could be either to develop your own skills, for your own personal growth, or you either want to make an impact to the society by expressing different like awareness things. So this is what a passion project basically is. Next slide, please. So we want to show a few examples of passion projects that have been done. First of all, we can start with vlogs and blogs. So blogs, for you, those of you that are like very creative and have prior experience with content creation, this is perfect for you. So for personal blogs, it's an easy way to share about your own story or what you think about a certain topic. to the rest of the world. So for example, on the bottom left there, we have a blog by Leia Maisa, and she's a YTP Mara scholar currently in MIT. She shared her story of SPM. So basically, she gives tips on how she studied for it, telling about the resources that work for her, but also the resources that didn't work for her. And maybe it was just her sharing her story, but when it reached the right people, then it created a very big impact. And then on top there, we see Tian. So Tian is also a scholar, a Petronas scholar at KYUEM, and he does his blog about geology and nature. So his blog is on LinkedIn, and he shares his experience of hiking through different mountains and visiting different places across Malaysia. And he shares what he finds and what he learns from them on his blog. But what if you're like me and you don't like writing? You have educational vlogs. So try to make them educational, like you're filming a video, and you talk to the camera for a few minutes, and then you either edit it or you don't, and then you upload it online. So these vlogs can be either a full-length video, like 5 to maybe 10 minutes, or even a short vlog, maybe like a minute or two, just talking to the camera and then sharing what you've seen in the world. Back when I was doing my exchange program in Japan, I made vlogs about going to different places that had a significance on STEM. So on the top right there in the phone there, you could see a vlog series that I did called STEM in Japan, where I visited a few places like museums in the area, which was pretty interesting to me. And it basically became an excuse for me to go to these interesting places and make vlogs about them and just share to the rest of the people about these amazing places. And then on the bottom there, we have Fahim. Fahim is a JPA PPN scholar here also at KY, and he does educational videos on TikTok about either SPM tips, specific courses, and even some scholarship tips. So maybe if you have some tips to share about a subject that you're really good at, or maybe a topic that you really like to discuss, you can definitely make a video about it and share it with the rest of the world online. Next.
Hi guys. Okay, just to introduce myself, I'm James once again, a Kazana scholar, and I believe a lot of you are also very interested in getting Kazana scholarship. And these are some of the things that I'm currently doing, but um, it won't be any like direct link to getting a scholarship, so don't worry too much about it. So recently, I actually started a project called the AI Can project. It is a project that bridges the gap between AI literacy between students from all over, from different backgrounds. And this really allows us to directly provide information about AI literacy in the current market. And one thing I want to talk about as I made this project was coding a website, something that a lot of people may find stumped once in a while if they ever want to come across doing a website. But I personally think that with the current growth of AI in the market, of course, the most important thing is to learn about coding first, and of course, have a vast knowledge about exactly how websites work. This can help you in understanding the entire computational framework when you want to code a website. But most importantly, I believe that if you have that urge to produce a website, it is not wrong to like try to vibe code a little. And if any of you don't know what vibe coding is, it's basically coding with AI. I believe that if you can master coding with AI and at the same time learning exactly how the code works, coding a website can really give you a very wide understanding of coding in general, and also can be an amazing passion project that you can share to the world. And talking back about the AI Can project, it is actually an outreach program that we have been carrying out for quite some time. If you guys would like to have a look at it, you can of course search on Instagram, but I won't be talking about it too much. Basically, we would be hosting events at areas with about 10 to 15 people, and we would regularly recruit volunteers to host these kind of AI literacy events. Of course, if you are interested, feel free to join the project. But most importantly, here is I want to say that if you have any caveats you see within your community, if you believe that in your community there is a lack of AI literacy, for example, for us, feel free to just have a look online on how you can carry out these kind of projects and just kickstart it and don't be afraid of failing because that journey of building up that project and maybe coding our own website is really is more about growth than about like the end product. Yeah, I think that's about it from me.
Hi again. My name is Jimmy. I'm also a Hazana scholar with James. And this next example that I'll be talking about will be for those who loves to build things and putting things together. And one of those examples is to try and build something new for your passion projects. So this is I think mainly applies to those who wants to be an engineer or maybe wants to be an inventor in the future. One of those things that you can try in your passion projects is to try delve into the world of electronics or robotics. See, when you try do these things, you'll like learn a lot of really complex topics and subjects that relates to the world of engineering that you're probably gonna learn in like in degree. But by studying it early, you'll have a really a big head start and than other people, and it also creates a platform for you to gain a little like deeper interest in engineering. You maybe at first you can try to build some simple circuits like how to turn on an LED, or maybe you can probably uh, try and build a robotic arm. But there's no really any limitations to this. It's only from your imaginations. However, if you feel like building things physically, it can be quite costly to build these things physically. You can also try to build these things virtually through like a lot of platforms online, like Inventor, Autodesk, or AutoCAD. Um, I think I can share a bit with you about some of my passion projects that I've done. As someone who wants to pursue engineering and actually is really passionate about engineering, I have competed in F1 in schools before in high school, and where I need to design some F1 inspired F1 model cars using 3D modeling software. So yeah, I've had some experience, and after SPM, I tried to hone my 3D modeling skills further through a software called Autodesk Fusion 360. As you can see, in the uh like that Formula One car picture, yeah, that is like one of the cars that I designed after SPM, and you can see like a full list of iterations that I did just to make sure that my designs were as efficient and as fast as possible. And after I was done with this designing cars and stuff, I wanted to like grow and start a new passion project, which is I wanted to build a drone, because what my head was thinking at the time was, when I just designed these cars, I couldn't really uh, bring it to the real world because there's not really any electronics or any circuits for my model car. It's just a design. So, but in engineering, later on, I have to like control circuits, build some modules and stuff. So I chose a drone passion project as my gateway to this electronics world. So you can see like a X frame there, which is a frame for my drone, and yeah, that was a design that I did in December, and I just have to like print it now for my like to put it together. So yeah, think that's all from me.
So hi everyone. Once again, I'm Eldon. So I would also like to share about my passion project. And my passion project mainly focuses on teaching primary school students and giving back to the community as well as like guiding young minds to care for the environment. So because I always believe that the education is a very strong tool, especially when you want to have a long-term change in your country or even like in human civilization maybe. So of course, academics matter, and I really feel that what really shapes a child is the values that they learn when they're young. So throughout this project, I don't just like teach students academically, but at the same time, I help them to build like confidence, discipline, and even give them a great sense of responsibility. And many children just simply need encouragement sometimes, yeah, and positive role models to help them realize their potential. So to make the learning more engaging, right? I really promote a lot of hands-on activities and organize a lot of different competitions, such as like building a chair using just cardboard without glue and without staplers, and all those activities actually allows them to really think creatively, work together at the same time, solve problems in a fun way. So other than that, I also like initiated something which we call as an environmental awareness program, and I organize replanting programs and try to maybe organize a trips to the nearby recreational parks just to maybe pick up some rubbish, maintain the cleanness of the environment, and so on. So to me, I think that serving back to the community, it allows you to do a self-reflection, and at the same time, it is impactful as well. And what we can learn is not only just like transferring our knowledge to the other people, but at the same time, we can learn how to communicate with our future generations. And this could really not only polish our communication skills, critical thinking skills, as well as it is also part of our project where we are able to become a better and a stronger leader in the future as well. Yeah, that's all from me.
Hello, everyone. I'm Arshad. I'll be covering the humanities-based projects. So I saw that a lot of people are interested in law, and so I'm also a legal enthusiast. So before coming into KY, if you can see, I started a project called Lit Up. So Lit Up is obviously a reference to the iconic show called Suits. You just got lit up. So I was watching that show, and then I realized that we don't have any exposure to mooting or to the legal field. Some of us don't even know what mooting is. So then I researched and found out that we can start something called mooting that is related to mooting. But obviously, to start a mooting club, it is quite boring. It's quite normal. So I thought, let's make it unique. Then I started a competition. But then the problem arose when pre-uni students don't really know what mooting is. To those who are unfamiliar, mooting is a simulation of what happens at the court. So then I thought, okay, let's start with a series of workshops and then leading on to a final competition. So that's how Lit Up was born, and it is Malaysia's first ever pre-university mooting competition. So from that, you can see that it's important that we try to signify our project and make it as unique as possible to ensure that it's something that we can brag about, not necessarily that's the aim for it, but it is something that we can explore to make it as niche and at the same time making sure that is something of interest, something of passion. So yeah, do follow our journey at litup.my where you'll get multiple exposures to mooting and the legal field as a whole. Right, moving on.
All right, so we saw a few examples of different passion projects that you guys can do. Can you guys remind what are the different types of passion projects that there are? Can we get some responses in the chat? Ingat balik, ingat balik. What are the different passion projects that you can do? Personal blogs, betul? Outreach, vlogs. Humanities, build something new, coding. Right. So those are the different types of examples. Oh, ramai-ramai ni. Okay. So since we've looked at different examples of passion projects, you guys might have the question in mind now. Where do I start? Where do you start doing a passion project? So we have made a quick and simple guide on how you should start doing your passion project. And it all starts with finding your spark. So first of all, you need to know something that you really care about. It needs to be something that itches you in the morning, something that you find really troublesome in the world, and something that's really missing in your community. Think about the problems that are occurring now, something is missing in your community, and use the 5 Ws. What is missing? Where is it missing in? And use those different types of questions to explain your spark, basically.
And to figure out like the specifics or what exactly you want to do, you can try to find some inspirations online. You can try surfing through social medias like TikTok or Instagram, or even you can ask ChatGPT for some inspiration of projects that you can do. Besides that, you can also try and ask an expert, maybe your teacher or lecturer that has some experiences in the field of study of your project. And you also have to ask yourself how impactful your project is going to be and measure it, because it what's most important is it is that it is impactful to you, how much you learn and how much you grow from this project. Okay. And then you also have to make sure how realistic this project that you're going to do. Do you have the capacity to do it? Are you financially stable to do this? And do you have the free time to do it?
And then definitely after planning your project, making the budget, and making the timeline of when you are going to start your project, which part of the month that you are going to do certain things, you do that first, and then you want to launch it. So launching your project, you want to start launching it when it's ready. Don't start your project when you think it's not ready yet, but also don't procrastinate too much. Get something started first, be on the right foot, and make sure that you are satisfied along the way of the project. So if you're not satisfied, fix those hiccups, make sure that you are satisfied with your project, make sure it solves the initial objectives that your project set out, and finally be consistent with it. Don't leave your project behind just because you have an exam coming or you moved into a different school. Follow your timeline that you made for your project. Make sure every deadline is met. And also review your project from time to time. Maybe if you want to make a report on your project, make those changes and review your project, because it will help you to understand the impact that your project is making. But last but not least, always remember that the only way to do great work is to love what you do. So make sure that you're doing this project not because that you want to impress the interviewers during the scholarship process, but because you really love doing what you want to do. So I guess that's it from us. And we wanted to do a short Q&A session, but if you guys have any questions about passion projects, leave it in the chat, and we'll get to you guys, reply to your comments as the workshop goes on. So thank you guys so much for your cooperation, and we can move on to the next session. Yeah, reach out to us if you guys have any questions as well.
All right. A huge thank you to all speakers for showing us how to bring our ideas to life, just like how they did. Now, to help you take that creative spirit even further, let's move on to our next session. Next up, we have Jin Sen and Yahya from Amiso here to talk about Compete for Impact and how to make your mark in various competitions.
Okay, hi guys. How's everyone doing? Could we go to the Miso slide, please? All right. Okay. So, my name is Jinson, and I'm the head of academics at AMISO, the Association of Malaysians in the International Science Olympiads. And I'm joined today by Yahya, our vice president. Hello, Yahya.
Hello guys, nice to
All
meet
right.
you.
Okay, so today I'll just be giving a brief overview on the different types of competitions that you can join and Olympiads that you can join. And I think, first of all, my thought will be a little bit more santai because you have like so many professional groups here. So yes, but also I'm going to go more towards like an academic route instead of like more volunteering or self-initiative. I think competitions, they are quite straightforward lah, so I don't have to elaborate much. But so first of all, what is AMISO? So AMISO is, I've stated the name before, but it's a group of Malaysians who have represented the country in the International Science Olympiads. So you can see a couple of them on the screen here. I'll be elaborating a little bit more about them later, but essentially they're the toughest competitions in the entire world. for high school students. So you can go to the AMISO website for a little bit more description, but AMISO essentially represents the students of Malaysia and the International Science Olympians of Malaysia. So we provide a couple of competitions to try to bring that competitive spirit locally lah. Yeah, next slide, please. All right, so essentially we spread the word of International Science Olympiads to the masses, and we also organize a couple of flagship competitions to help bring the competitive spirit to Malaysia lah. So we have two flagship events. One is called YSEC, the Youth STEM Experiment Camp, and the Youth STEM Cup YSC. So typically these competitions, they are run during the YSEC is run during the winter period, so you should be on holiday by then. And YSC, the Youth STEM Cup, is also run during the summer holidays lah. So you can see a couple of the images from the competitions here. YSC is a little bit more paper-based, a little bit more theory, and YSEC is a little bit more experimental lah. So yeah, I think the interesting thing is that YSC is hosted in Putrajaya and YSEC is hosted in Penang. So yeah, a lot of ways to explore Malaysia lah. All right, next slide, please. Okay, so essentially, our Olympiads, they are competitions as well, but essentially the aim of them are to get students away to get rewarded for studying the subjects that they love. So compared to the other like passion projects as what discussed just now, Olympiads, they are very straightforward, as in you take tests, you study what you like, and then you demonstrate them on paper, and then you win medals for it. So pretty straightforward, but I think there's a little bit more nuance and it's like really fun. So I'll explain a little bit more about that later lah. But I think the main thing to embrace when you are proceeding to throughout this talk is that Olympiads aren't a way for you to get into university, but they're a way for you to demonstrate interest into your subject. So I think something that's really important is to keep in mind that Olympiads shouldn't be your end goal, but your end goal should be just exploring more about the subjects that you like lah. And I mean, along the way, you might win an Olympiad medal. So yes, next slide, please. All right. So it's essentially 4 to 6 high school Malaysians can join these competitions. So Malaysia selects 4 to 6 of you guys, depending on the competition, to represent the country in the International Science Olympiads. I have a list later, but essentially Malaysia runs a couple of selection stages to select 4 to 6 of the best high school Malaysians. So those who are under 20 years old lah. So it's a really good opportunity for you guys, especially as post-SPM students, because I mean you are still below 20 and you have the experience and expertise from your before Form 5 days. And I mean, well, I would say that this is a really good time for you to specialize into something that you're really interested in. And I think as it states on the bottom, if you're not sure what to do and you really like studying, why not just join competitions and then you will get rewarded for exploring the world around you through your favorite subjects. Next slide, please. Okay, so essentially these are the list of international Olympiads that you can join. The ones highlighted in blue are the big three. I'll explain why later, but the maths, informatics, and physics. But there are also Olympiads in biology, chemistry, and all the way ranging to like economics and like philosophy. So there's something for any one of you. I mean, well, law students might be interested in philosophy, the essay writing component of the IPO, or the engineering students might be interested in like analyzing mechanics in like the International Physics Olympiad. And I mean, there's one for everyone lah. And I mean, I have highlighted the ones in bold, the IOAA, INSO, and IOAI. The selection rounds for the Malaysia's punya selection rounds, they're still open at the moment lah. So if any of you are interested, check these ones out. But there's a timeline that we'll be introducing later. So yeah, just keep in mind. Next slide, please. All right. So I think it's very important to make a quick distinction between like pay to win and the legit Olympiads out there. As I think we've already explained that Olympiads are a way for you to represent the country and to show like interest in your subject. So it's very important that these types of Olympiads, they are very, very they're very serious lah, and they actually allow you to show your prowess in your subject. So a couple of points here that's important to note is that the Olympiads have to be backed by an established organization. I know for a couple of Olympiads, I think the physics and economics ones that I've joined, they are backed by Nobel laureates. So physics was backed by, I forgot who lah, but I mean, economics was backed by Eric Maskin, so one of the Nobel Prize winners for the economics lah. So that's very important. There are also layers of selection rounds to pick the best individuals from Malaysia, in this case, to represent you on the international scale. So not everyone can join unless you prove your skills and potential lah. So that's a little bit of competitive spirit here, but I mean, it just goes to show that Yes, like let's say you are applying to universities. Yes, you are the smartest kids in Malaysia. Let's say that. The subject asked is not too niche, so it should be a well-expanded subject and it should be internationally recognized. So it should be very serious. Like physics is a serious subject, but like maybe like clothes folding shouldn't be an Olympiad because it's not that serious. Yeah. And I mean, problems should be transparent and then they should really focus on problem solving instead of just like memorizing. Um, and I mean, the logistics should be well taken care of, lah. So, not a lot of profit making should be done here because I mean, the people who are to benefit from these Olympiads are the youth around the world. So, yeah, next slide, please. Okay, so apart from Olympiads, because I know the barrier for entry into Olympiads, they are like quite high. There are also other competitions which is more freely open to people, so that maybe you can get a taster into like the competitive problem-solving world. So, for in terms of scientific competitions or mathematics competitions, there's Kangaroo Maths, Beaver, or AMC. You can go look them up later. But also for the non-STEM students, there are also economics and philosophy Olympiads. So, such as the John Locke essay competition. So they're a little bit more open and they're a little bit more free for you to get a taster lah. And I mean, some of the events are also organized by the Olympiad organizers, such as the IEO Winter Challenge and the IEO Open Track. So you can well keep an eye out for that. Yes, next slide. Okay, so essentially, I mean, I've explained all about what Olympiads are, but if let's say you were to get involved into like starting out with joining these Olympiads, you should ask yourself like one main question: what do you really enjoy studying? I think the main reason why I joined physics and economics was because I like the subjects. And I mean, if you look at competitions purely based off of prestige, like let's say the most prestigious one is the IMO, the Maths Olympiad, you get really bored really quickly because I mean you're not studying something that you truly believe in. And I think these types of Olympiads and competitions, they really require a lot of your effort. So it's really important that you really like the subject. And I mean, I didn't join the Maths Olympiad because I think maths is boring, but you guys really have to understand yourself and pick a subject that you love to just find out about and explore. Like let's say why planets move, why markets work, or why reactions occur. And I mean, competitions, they are really difficult, but I mean, that's the fun of it. Regardless of whether or not you're going to get selected for the national team or not, I mean, selecting, let's say, 2,000 Malaysians, let's say out of a batch of 2,000 Malaysians, but let's say you have to select 4 or 5 of them. I mean, that's harder than getting into Harvard, like let's say. So I mean, regardless of whether or not you're going to get on the national team, you really enjoy the journey and meeting all of these different people, studying these things. And like at the end of the day, if you don't get into the national team, you still have so much knowledge that you will have learned. So yeah, I think that's really interesting as well. But I mean, let's say that you are someone who doesn't really know about yourself or know what subject you really like. I mean, just try them out. You have nothing to lose. Apart from certain like cost factors involved, you will have explored a lot of the subjects that you like. And I mean, you get to know yourself a little bit better through these types of things. Yeah. Next slide, please. Okay, so I think with these types of competitions, I think the really special thing about these Olympiads is that you really, I mean, money isn't a really big factor when doing these types of things because I mean you have so many sponsors around you, such as your school, your local government, or even a scholarship sponsor, whoever your sponsor may end up to be, they are definitely happy to sponsor. I mean, the best Malaysians in the field lah. So essentially most competitions they cost around like 50 ringgit or 10 ringgit for the first selection stage. And I mean they are all worth it lah because it will end up subsidizing the students in the country. So um I mean, regardless of your income level, regardless of your socioeconomic standing, I think Olympiads are a great way for you to represent your country because I mean, money won't help you if you're smart lah. So let's just say that. But you can read a couple of details there too. Yes, next slide, please. Okay, yeah, yeah. I feel that you could explain about your course situation with your Olympiads.
Right, here we go. Okay, so I did astronomy and physics Olympiads. So most of my Olympiads were subsidized either subsidized by my school or like the fees were minimal because it was organized in Malaysia or it was online. So yeah, so don't be afraid to reach out to your sponsor or your local politicians and so on. Next slide.
All right. So, to get started with the Olympiads, apart from exploring your subjects and finding the ones that you really like, there are two ways. Common sense, if you want to take the formal route, baca buku, watch a couple of lectures by I mean MIT has open course lectures, but just start studying lah. I mean there's no better way to do this. Pick up undergraduate texts and then just slowly explore lah. I think time is a really important factor here. But I mean if you want to go ahead informally, because I know I don't like reading, I don't like studying, and I'm really lazy. You can get in touch with a couple of alumni through Amiso, especially, just to like see how their experience was and how they tackled these types of subjects. And I mean, something that really helped for me was watching YouTube videos or TikToks to just like motivate me on like really fun concepts lah. So, if you like reading, read. But if you don't like reading, there's an opportunity for you lah. So next slide. So this is the general timeline for a lot of these different competitions. You have to research the specifics for like each different one, but generally November is when the registration ends for the first rounds, and then December to January of the next year when the first rounds occur, and then February to March are the second rounds or like maybe the final rounds even. Then April will comprise of mostly the final team selection test. So each one of these different stages will increase my difficulty lah, definitely. And then May to June will typically be the national team training. Sometimes it might not just be the top 5 or 6 national team members participating in training, but because Malaysia wants to build up on that talent, we will invite like maybe the top 20 or top 30 even to just train with the national team. So it's really, really special in that sense lah. And July will be the final Olympiad lah. And I mean, every single year the Olympiad is hosted in different countries. I mean, I went to Baku, I went to Russia. I mean, like weird places you typically wouldn't go to as a Malaysian, but I mean, yeah, really interesting. All right, next slide. If you want a little bit of tips, I'm part of the Olympiad initiative, so just a humble plug here. If you want, you can check us out because there are Olympiad guides written by the alumni and they are quite detailed if you really want a deep dive into them. Yeah, next slide, please. So aside from the studying, I mean, well, there are a lot of benefits to doing Olympiads. I think the biggest thing is like university applications and like scholarship applications, especially. You can read the text here, lah, but I mean, MIT, Cambridge, Harvard, and US, and TU offer a lot of benefits to these like Olympiad students. I know NTU offers direct admission. If you get like an Olympiad medal, you terus masuk lah. So yeah, and I mean MIT, the secret into entering is an Olympiad medal. So there are a lot of benefits in terms of like formal university applications. Next slide. Uh, I mean, aside from the important like CV building stuff for you CV farmers out there, it's like the community that you'll experience. So I mean, I first met Yahya at the physics Olympiad, like training with him throughout the camps, and then like you just get to explore like so many interesting places. I mean, I went to Thailand. I got to embrace like Thai culture. I ate so many like shawarmas in Baku. I mean, I ate really terrible Russian food in Russia. I mean, they're just a great way to meet people around the world, see how they interact with their subjects in their country. But I mean, not just that, you get to interact with really cool Malaysians as well. So you form like a really big community. And I mean, you get to try hard together lah. And well, the trips around the world, sometimes they are really heavily subsidized by by certain governments. So I mean, just a like cheaper way to explore the world, I guess. Next slide, please. And yeah, with my personal experience, I ended up doing economics and physics because I thought they were really interesting. I joined Junior Science Olympiad first, because I like science. Then suddenly my teacher recommended me to do econ. Then I slowly explored lah, into these different fields. And I mean, well, for all of you, well, normal people out there, I didn't really score that well when I was in Form 3, but then I joined one competition and I thought it was interesting. Then I studied lagi, then I really dived like deep into my subject. So I thought it was like really, really fun lah. But yeah, that's all from me. After that, I'll hand it over to Yahya, who has things to say about the other opportunities within STEM as well.
Okay, thank you so much, Vincent, for the really informative sharing session. Okay, so I'll be sharing a bit more on other opportunities that you can pursue. So if you are interested in pursuing research while waiting for SPM results, you can first check out this guide made by a Malaysian currently studying in Caltech, based off his experience and also like interviewing other people on how to do research specifically tailored for Malaysian. And also check out this guy's YouTube playlist called Rishabh Jain. Okay, next slide. Then you could also reach out to researchers on LinkedIn or by cold emailing them. But you might face some limitations, but yeah, there's no harm in just trying to work on something that you love. So yeah, if you're interested, search out for professors that is notable in your field in Malaysia. Try to reach out to them. They should be um open lah to you interning there. Next slide, please. Okay, this is what I really want to highlight. So Hack Club is a community of um teens all around the world who are interested in tech. And they do have subsidized programs where if you work on projects independently and they would track the projects that you work on, the amount of hours, you could claim the number of hours that you spend on goodies like Arduino boards or even like earbuds or even MacBooks if you work on it for enough hours, or even flight tickets and hotels for overnight hackathons at overseas country like Australia, or you can go to NASA as you can see like on the top here. It's a really interesting opportunity, only open to teenagers by the way, up until age of 13. Up until age of 18. So during your free time, definitely check this out. They have a bunch of cool programs. Next slide, please. That I wish I had partaked in more. So they have this Stereo Town program going on and these other projects. Completely free of charge. It's totally legit. Do check them out. Next slide, please. And yeah, here are some other skills or competitions that you can pursue in tech. Google skills, you can learn how to implement Google's AI in your tech projects or build your own project using Google's database and so on. MLH, there's a lot of hackathons organized on Major League Hacking MLH, online hackathons that you can join. And yeah, it's really helpful. You could even get internships if you win those, or cool mouses like I did. And Kaggle is a great place to learn about AI and join competitions about ML, machine learning, and join competitions on using ML in the context of maybe healthcare or astronomy. The reason I'm focusing more on tech is that I believe that tech is a really skills in tech are a really good to have, especially now everything is going digital. Everything can be integrated with tech. So yeah, regardless if you want to pursue humanities, engineering, or pure science, do brush up on your tech skills, programming skills, and so on. Next slide, please. So yeah, just reiterating about what Jinsen had mentioned multiple times throughout his presentation. Whatever you do, it's always about the journey. It's not about the destination. It's not about collecting certificates or what. It's about the growth that you experience along the way, the skills that you pick up, the friends that you make, the communities that you build. Next slide. So you miss 100% of the shots that you never take. So don't be afraid to try out new things. And yeah, definitely do stuff for the love of the game because you are passionate about it, not just to have CV, to have more stuff on your CV. And don't be afraid to fail, because failing is just growing in disguise. So yeah, I think that's all from us. We'll open the floor to questions and answers. And yeah, most importantly, have fun. Just I
And on
believe we
Instagram.
have one question in the chat. You want to take that?
Yeah, that's all right. If there are any questions, add us on Instagram first. Very important. But a question from the YouTube live stream: how hard do we have to study for these Olympiads? I remember I had a little bit of experience from like Form 3 when I started doing these type of competitions. So I started off at like very basic SPM or like IGCSE level textbooks. So I learned a little bit on that, and then you can slowly build up to A level and then like slowly gain a bit of knowledge. For the National Malaysian Team Selection Test, I think A levels or like STPM should be more than enough to get you through. Sometimes it can go to first year undergraduate level. But I mean, there's no harm trying lah, honestly. These subjects you will learn as you go along, and there will be a really supportive community for you to help. Definitely lah, as you go along. I think Yahya can answer this question.
Okay, boleh. So during scholarship interviews, they'll always ask like their favorite question is what have you been doing like after SPM, like how have you been using your time? And if you were to say about the competitions that you joined, that would be really dope. And also, especially you whatever you talk about, be it competitions or internships, or like online skills, you always have to focus on the growth part. It can be personal growth, like changes in your character or skills that you learned. Yeah. Any other base member want to add on?
Well, I mean, aside from like scholarship interviews, if for you non-scholars out there, I'm sorry, I'm a non-scholar, but if you want to like utilize these competitions, I remember when I was doing my applications for like a lot of universities, they have like I know Cambridge has one, like a dedicated portal just to upload like your Olympiad certificates. It gives you something to write about in your personal statement. It gives, oh yeah, definitely you can write this in your resume lah. And this will help you, I think, not just within your high school or like your university periods, but if you, let's say, want to apply for a job in the future, especially in like a top firm, it will really help you show for your, it will help show your problem solving skills. So you'll be able to work really well in like a applicable environment. Apart from that, okay, is it possible for post-SPM students to start joining Olympiads? I mean, the Olympiad first rounds, they will be in November. So typically a lot of them have closed already. There are three that have not closed, so you can still join those. They will be in the slide later if you want to refer back. But I mean, nothing better to do now than yeah, I stated in the chat. But nothing better to do now than, I mean, we'll start studying and start gaining interest into your subjects. And I think you can try to see or like explore different subjects to see what you particularly like lah. Do you need to show the certificates during interview? I think in general, when if let's say you're going into like scholarships or let's say you're going into like university applications, a lot of these are based off of like a trust me basis. Apart from like university applications that like specifically ask for your certificates, but a lot of them, yeah, as Yahya has said. But yeah, in terms of like university applications, it's like really trust me, but they will really verify with your counselor, let's say, in the future. Very interested in law and international relations, applied for MUN and got in, but I have financial problems. Any solutions for scholarships or try during college? Definitely, if let's say the MUN programs, they are they're very prestigious, and let's say they are outside the country for you to like represent Malaysia and whatnot, you can definitely email your school, email your scholarship organization, or email a local government member. They'll be more than happy to try it out. Right. For some of us who do not have experience in STEM, Arduino, or robotics, will it be still impactful to compete for scholarships such as Shell and Petronas? Competitions. I mean, well, competitions are something that's like inherently something that's very academic. So you don't really have to have a lot of tools to get started learning. All you need is a book. All you need is like a free YouTube channel. And I mean, you just register for the competition. And I think it's really easy for you guys to find success lah, if let's say you are really, really passionate about the subject. Is it ever too late? Oh, no. It's never too late to get started. I know some people who started competing in their very last year of A-levels and still managed to qualify for the national team. Unless you're over 20, lah, which I don't think a lot of you guys are, but it's really never too late to just pick up a book and start studying, especially while you are like still before university, still within A-levels, while your brain is still spongy to absorb all these different types of subjects. Yeah, I mean, never too late. If you have a passion, why not je lah? As Yahya has said, you miss 100% of the shots you never take. Personal statement question. Okay, I think this is the final question lah, because we are running out of time. But in general, if you want to write like a really good personal statement, for Depends on where you are going to use your personal statement. For scholarship applications, I can't say much about because I'm not a scholar. But in terms of UK personal statements, if you're planning on going to like Cambridge and Oxford or like LSE, UCL, Imperial, and all that, it's really important for you guys to be really, really technical. And I think something that's really helped me, like Olympiads have really helped me in the sense that I have a lot of things to write. I found like really niche topics within physics and like economics to write about in my personal statement. You can mention like specific key terms about like the types of topics that you've explored, specific projects that you've done, and I mean, in terms of the UK, it's really, really technical lah. And I mean, if you are to go forward to like let's say Cambridge interviews or like Oxford interviews, these types of Olympiads are great because I know within like a couple of Cambridge interviews, they are exactly the same as like a couple of physics Olympiad problems or like economics Olympiad problems that you've done before. So crazy thing lah. But in terms of personal statements for like the US, for example, if you're interested in that, express yourself. I think Olympiads doesn't have a lot of weight there, but I mean, Olympiads allow you to really interact people, develop more about yourself, and like understand yourself a little bit better. And I mean, you also have a community to talk about as well. And I mean, joining these Olympiads, you get to represent Malaysia at such a high level. You will definitely feel a stronger connection to your country, to your community around you, and I mean, you just be more driven to serve the community. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for the strategic insight by both Jinsen and also Yahya. It's clear that participating in these Olympiads is about passion and also impact. And speaking of impact, our next session focuses on giving back to the community. So without further ado, let's welcome Ms. Toshania Prabhakaran from TKM as she guides us on how to empower through volunteering and find purpose in service.
Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible? Okay. Thank you, Yamuna, and thank you, Base, for organizing such a great workshop. First of all, congratulations to all of you. You've officially completed SPM. And whether it felt amazing or completely exhausting, you survived it. That itself is something to be very proud of. So give yourselves a round of applause. Nice. Okay, so now let me ask you something honestly. How many of y'all feel excited about life after SPM? And how many of y'all feel a bit lost, nervous, or unsure about what comes next? Can we see, answers in the chat box? Lost. I get it. I get it big time. It's okay. It's fine. Okay, see, if you're feeling unsure, it's okay. It's seriously very, very normal. Post-SPM, in my opinion, is one of the most strangest phases in life. For the first time, there's no fixed timetable, there's no clear path, and then all of a sudden, everyone and their mother keeps asking you the same question, so what are you going to do next? And your answer is, if your answer is, I'm not sure yet, people start giving you advice that you didn't ask for, which, let's be honest, you don't need it lah, kan? And if your answer is tak tahu, people buat muka pelik, Okay, so who here has been asked at least 5 times, what's next? What are you going to do next? Can we see a little bit of responses in the chat box? Okay. Okay, again, I'm not here to judge or pressure you. I understand. I'm here to share something that I wish someone told me earlier. How volunteering can be a tool that is very powerful to build direction, confidence, and also opportunities after SPM. So let me introduce myself. I'm Toshania, and I'm an LLB graduate from England, currently finishing up my bar course. And today I want to talk about empowering through volunteering and how it builds skills and direction after SPM. And again, let me be honest, it's not any type of ceramah kosong. It's a real talk from someone yang pernah blur also lah. Okay. So let me start by introducing the Culture Movement, or TKM. So we are a youth-led movement that focuses on empowering Malaysian students. And when we say youth-led, we really mean it. We have students, we have graduates, we have young professionals working together to support other students. Okay, so TKM essentially combines of 3 things: education, mentorship, and also community service. And it's not just any sort of we're not only looking after academic excellence, but we also do look after personal growth and leadership, which is why our motto is actually very simple, but also very powerful, in my opinion: empowering through volunteering. Because, the culture movement believes that when young people serve others, they don't fall behind. We actually move forward much quicker. And TKM also exists because not every student starts from the same place. Some have guidance and some don't. Some have exposure, some don't. But everyone deserves support and opportunity. Am I right? Okay, so what is the purpose of today's session, you ask? Is about changing your perspective on volunteering. And I'm pretty sure many of y'all think that volunteering is just charity, okay, something that you do when you have extra time. But in reality, volunteering is one of the most powerful development platforms available to you after SPM. And today we'll look at how volunteering can strengthen your scholarship and university applications, how it builds career and leadership skills, as well as how it can expand your network and your access to mentors. But before that, I want you to leave this session thinking that you may not have everything figured out yet, but you do know where to start. Okay. Okay. Let's be honest, real talk. Academic results matter. SPM matters, okay? But here's the reality that many students only realize much later, that results alone are no longer enough. So you see, universities, scholarship panels, and employers, for example, they're not only asking, how smart are you? They're asking core questions like, can you communicate clearly? Can you handle responsibilities? Can you lead and work in a team? Can you adapt when things don't go according to plan? And you see, these skills, you don't fully learn them from exams. Volunteering, this type of situation, like when you do volunteer, it gives you an insight of how real life situation works. Okay, where your skills, these type of skills are tested. You need to learn how to speak up. You need to learn how to manage people. You need to learn how to stay calm when things go wrong, which is why, in my opinion, volunteering really matters. Like, for example, me, this is outside of my comfort zone, and volunteering taught me how to speak up, give people, just basically give back to community. That's all about it. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so let's talk about scholarships, because I know many of y'all are thinking about this, like top scholarships like Khazanah, Petronas. They don't just look for students with perfect grades. They look for holistic individuals, right? So let's be honest, lah. I mean, the word sounds a bit fancy, but to break it down for you, it's not just your grades, it's not just your certificates, but you as a person. Who are you as a person? Okay. Again, let's look at the chat box. Who here thinks that scholarships like this only want straight A students? Okay. Okay, here's something important that you need to know, right? If scholarships panels, if they only care about grades, they wouldn't interview you, they would just look at your results and be done with it. So what I'm trying to say is that when you do volunteer, it shows, initiative, it shows leadership skills, it shows that, you don't wait to be told what to do, and you have people that trust you, with responsibilities, that you're accountable. And also that you have community awareness. This is, I think, in my opinion, is one of the biggest thing that, anyone needs to have: community awareness, that you care beyond yourself. So, when interviewers ask or scholarship panels ask you, tell me about a challenge that you faced, you're not just, how do I say this? You're not just scrambling for an answer. You have a real life experience to share. That's the edge that volunteering gives you, in my opinion. So again, yeah, so when interviewers say that they want holistic candidates and stuff, they're really asking, who are you when, you're not studying? What do you do in your free time? And you don't have to say like, oh, I read, I listen to music. You don't have to say that. You have real life situations to help you with it. And in my opinion, I think volunteering is the best answer to cover it all. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, perfect. Okay, here's another way to think about volunteering is that it's a soft skills training ground, right? So you get to handle logistics, you get to mentor other people, you get to design programs, these type of things, these skills, they basically follow you everywhere, into universities, into career, your interviews, and having these skills early, okay, at your age, it makes a very huge difference if you ask me. So for example, if you handle logistics, you learn time management, you learn organizational skills, you learn problem solving. And when you mentor other people, you develop patience, you develop communication skills, and as well as leadership skills as well. And when you do design programs, you build creativity, teamwork and adaptability. All of these skills will follow you everywhere. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so let's move on to talk about networking, right? Through volunteering, you meet tons of people, okay? Seniors, university students, alumni, professionals, and peers from many different backgrounds, okay? Every person you meet will expand your world a little. Sometimes opportunities don't come because you applied online. They come because, how do I say this? Like someone remembers you and say that, oh, I think you'd be a great fit for this role. And I think that's the networking ripple effect. Like, let me just share a little bit of my experience. I met so many people from the cultural movement. And I was in the cultural movement 31, and I'm also in the cultural movement 32. And the amount of people I've met in the cultural movement 31 is just beyond words, like we just developed such great connection with people. It's always there's a bond there that can't be broken. It's very nice. Okay, I think we can. Okay, nice, thank you. Okay, an important clarification. It's not okay, volunteering is not about doing the most glamorous things, or it's not about joining everything at once, because we don't want you to have a lot on your plate, okay? What matters is consistency. So one-off events are fine, but long-term, purpose-driven volunteering builds stronger skills, clearer leadership pathways, yes, and a more meaningful impact. So for example, mentoring younger students, teaching them, you're leading initiatives, these type of roles shows depth. It's not just participation. Like, okay, can we move on to the next slide? Nice. Okay, thank you. Okay, so where do you find these type of opportunities? You can, of course, look for opportunities through the culture movement. We are always open for recruitment. We're always open for recruitment. You can also look for them in your school, community initiatives, university outreach programs, or even structured NGOs that focuses on youth and education. Okay, so again, let me say this clearly. You do not need any experience whatsoever. Okay, you do not need to be confident. You do not need to have everything figured out. Okay, you become confident by starting small. That's me. That's where I started. Okay, I did not have any experience. I wasn't confident when I first started volunteering, but look at where I am now. Okay. Okay, right. Nice. Thank you. So in the culture movement, there is a clear empowerment pathway. Many students start as participants first, and then they move on to become facilitators, and then later they go on to organize events. So we have 3 flagship events that runs through the year. The first one is Project Kalsom, and then we've got Kalsom Harapan, and then we've got EIC. EIC is, okay, I'm still trying to think what EIC stands for, but let me get back to you. I'm a bit scrambled up right now, but okay. Okay, moving on. Okay, so mentorship is also a core part of TKM, in my opinion. We as mentors here, we're not here to lecture you, we are your guides. So people who have been where you are right now, and we sort of help you navigate through your post-SPM choices, your university life, personal growth, and of course, your scholarship applications. Okay, and sometimes one good mentor can completely change how you look at yourself. Okay, moving on. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So TKM also supports students through okay, nice. Post-SPM pathway guidance, like I've mentioned, scholarship support, and a lifelong community. And there are also workshops on English proficiency, soft skills like presentation and teamwork. Again, I'm just going to be very honest with y'all. I did not know how to use Excel. I did not know how to use Google Docs. Okay, TKM taught me. Okay, and I would say I'm a bit okay in this, in handling Excel and Google Docs now, but okay, that's about it. And also university preparation, it's not just about one-time event, it's about long-term development, like the skills that I've learned in TKM, I'm using it when I'm working, you see. So yeah, as you can see, those are the volunteering opportunities that's available to you right now, that you can just, take a picture or go through it, it's really worth it, trust me. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So let me share a little bit about my own journey. I completed my LLB in England, and I'm currently finishing up my bar course while volunteering and while working full time. It's not easy. Let me be honest, it's not easy. There are moments of, burnt out, self-doubt, tons of pressure from each sides, but I'm just going to be very honest, okay? Honest talk, volunteering grounded me, okay? Even this morning, I was volunteering at Tara Foundation in Sentul. So it's where we got together, we partnered up with Tara Foundation, and we are teaching B40 kids core subjects like maths, English, science, history, and BM. And yeah, these things really it grounds me, basically, is what I'm trying to say. But it helped me build confidence, which is why I'm sat here in front of you talking about how volunteering is one of the best things that's ever happened to me. It's also sharpened my communication skills. And it's also reminded me that growth is not just about grades, it's about impact. Yeah. And these type of skills, I developed through, these skills that I developed through volunteering, it's helped me directly in academics, professional environments. Like I said, I'm working right now, so I transfer my skills and interviews. And through volunteering, again, I learned lessons that no classroom could fully teach me. Crisis management when things don't go as planned. This is the main thing. And leadership through mentoring, as well as confidence in public speaking, which is why I'm again sat in front of you talking, and also decision making. And, these skills stayed with me beyond volunteering. So yeah, next slide, please. Okay, so before I end, here are 3 key takeaways that I want you to remember, okay? Start now. Okay, no one is too early, no one is too inexperienced, start small. Okay, and secondly, your consistent actions actually could create a very big growth in the community, right? And thirdly, volunteering helps you build a strong holistic profile for scholarships, your university, and your future career. And again, you're not behind, you're not too late, you're exactly where you need to be if you start to take action right now. So next slide, please. Okay, perfect. So here's my call to action. After today, I want you all to identify one cause or any scholarship that you're interested in. And you can, of course, reach out to any TKM mentors. So I've got the my contact details in the next slide. And yeah, you can start building your portfolio through meaningful volunteering. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Start small again. So I'll end where we started, empowering through volunteering. So you see, when you serve others, when you help people, you don't lose time. You gain tons of skills, you gain clarity, you gain confidence and opportunities, right? Your future doesn't start after university. It starts with the choices that you make today. Okay, so thank you so much. And I hope to see many of you stepping forward soon. And that's my contact details and stuff. So I've got myself and I've got Irdina's contact details as well. So you can, of course, reach out to us. Thank you so much for the love. But yeah, it's really nice to see all of this. Really nice. I'm so happy. Oh, you have no idea how happy I am right now. But yeah, thank you so much, guys. Also, Q&A, scan the QR code and I'll answer any questions you've got. Oh, okay. So we've got Danish here. Where can I join voluntary programs? Can we maybe go back to the slide that had the volunteering opportunities, maybe? Yes, okay, perfect. Danish, you can have a look at it. And also, you can always go on Google and you can search, volunteering opportunities near me, and tons of it would actually come up, as well as on Instagram. It's a really good thing. Do we have any other questions? I'll be so happy to answer any sort of questions, guys. Okay, so when is the next round of recruitment of TKM? Okay, so right now we've just started TKM 32, so it's our new tenure, and we've got, what do we have coming up? We've got facilitators recruitment coming up sometime in April, and then we've got fellowships as well, which is coming up sometime in June. Do check out the Instagram page, guys. There's tons of updates on there, Okay, do volunteer works need to have money? Absolutely not. You are basically giving them your time, your energy, and you're helping people basically. It doesn't require money of any sort, you see. How long are average volunteering hours? Okay, so it basically depends on your, like for TKM, we've got 3 flagship programs, right? So it all basically depends on the programs. If I'm working part-time, is it still possible to volunteer? Listen, I'm working full-time and I'm volunteering. Why not do it? It's actually really good. Weren't you afraid of meeting new people through volunteering? Because personally, I have quite a hard time socializing. Okay. I wouldn't say that I'm a very extrovert person. I would say I'm like in the middle, but meeting new people honestly opened up my eyes on many different aspects, you see. And these type of connections, you can't just get meeting people, how do I say this, like online. Like when we do have meetings with my committee members, like TKM, we tend to do it face to face. So there's more, you can build a bond that's basically unbreakable, if you get what I mean, and conversations would just flow really easily, really smoothly. It doesn't necessarily always have to be about work, work, work. You see, you can always talk about your day, you can always talk about anything else, you're meeting new people, and that's one of the main benefits of volunteering, in my opinion. How do I apply if I join the local volunteer? Okay, so for TKM, we do provide certificates. So after fellowships, after facilitators, and after completing your tenure, we do provide certificates. Yeah, of course, you can put your volunteering works with no certificates or anything in your resume. Like when I was in England, I volunteered for this it's a program under my university where we sort of, it's called Nightline. It's where we answer calls, to help people with their mental health, basically. So these type of things, we don't really get any certificates for that, but I do put it in my CV, and I do have like a reference below it. So in case recruiters or, if I'm going to apply for a new job, if they want to call them up and, it's just there, it's ready for them. I'm from Sarawak. Is it possible? We do have 3 people from Sarawak this tenure, guys. So you can, everything is online. It doesn't necessarily have when we do have meetups, it's not necessary for you to join us per se, because we do have online meetings, we do have face-to-face meetings as well. So it's a bit of both, you see. If I have to go to volunteering activities alone, what advice can you give me? I went for this volunteering activity alone today. So I'm from Seremban, and this Tara Foundation is all the way in Sentul, and I went alone. How do I say this? It's all about, giving back to the community. That's all I would say. It's a choice as well, you see. Like I should, if I had thought that, oh, you know what, I'm just not gonna go. It's how do I say this? It's just that joy in people's face, when you help them. It comes directly from your heart, is what I would say. Are there also online volunteering? If I'm not mistaken, most of these youth NGOs, they do have online volunteering. I think it's more favorable than physical volunteering. But yeah. And no, it doesn't require your own transportation. Like I took the KTM. Okay, so is there any difference between being a youth ambassador and volunteering? Okay, I can't really answer that question because I can only speak for volunteering. I can't really answer about being a youth ambassador, but I think there might be a bit of a difference there. I find it hard to join volunteering programs since I'm joining it alone without knowing anyone there. How do you break the ice? Okay. So of course, when you join these volunteering programs, we do have ice-breaking sessions. So when we first recruit people, we do have tons of ice-breaking sessions in between. And that's where you get to know people. That's where you speak your opinions. That's where you tell people, you let people know, this is who I am. This is what I do. This is how I want to help people. And people would remember you. So yeah, it's honestly no effort at all. Honestly, no effort. Trust me, guys, no effort at all. It's easy. It comes really easy. But yeah, do we have any other questions? Okay, so you see the question from here, the one that says, does anyone know what volunteering that I can join at Kelantan? We've got, if I'm not mistaken, we've got 5 people from like Terengganu, Kelantan. We've got all over Malaysia basically, that's joined TKM. And it's again, it doesn't matter if you're far away. We've got people from UK, we've got people from France joining us as well this tenure. So really, it doesn't matter. It's about your efforts. It's about your time. How much can you give? How much can you, help people basically? So it really doesn't matter if it's just purely online. So yeah. Again, guys, there's my email address is there, and then we've got my Irdina's email address there as well. So if you have any questions or anything of any sort, you can of course email me and I will get back to you. And yeah, thank you so much. And I really hope to see many of you stepping forward soon. It's really nice. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Miss Toshania Prabhakaran, for the insightful session. I'm certain that everyone here feels much more equipped to make an impact through volunteering now. I think I can back up this claim by all the hearts that's flooding through the screen.
Yeah, it's actually really nice.
Okay, so now that you've all been packed with such great information from our first few segments, we're going to hit the pause button for a quick 5-minute refresh and recharge. So take this time to stretch and grab a drink while you're at it. Also, there's a QR code that is on the screen. So do complete the career quiz for that will take about 5 minutes. And it's basically not a test. There are no wrong answers or no right answers. Just go with your gut, and if you're done with the quiz, do flood the chat box with the results so we can know what careers are trending in the room. I'll meet you guys after the break. Okay, so welcome back everyone. I hope you are feeling refreshed and had a chance to see your quiz results. I love to hear what the internet thinks your future holds for you. So, is it possible for me to get your results here in the comment section down below? Hmm. I see somebody got dentist. So I'll just do a quick run through of the careers that you can explore based on your top result. So if you're a social individual, some career examples are doctor, teacher, counselor, nurse, and also a human resource specialist. If you're a directive person, some career examples for you might be a manager, business person, lawyer, principal, or politician. If you're an innovative type person, some careers that you can explore is scientist, architect, data analyst, software developer, or researcher. Moving on, if you are chosen to be a methodological worker, some careers that you can explore is accountant, pharmacist, librarian, auditor, or legal assistant. Last but not least, if you're an objective individual, some careers that you can explore is being an engineer, pilot, technician, mechanic, or surgeon. So I see from the chat box here, there's a ranging diverse career options from therapists to radiologists and all. So I hope that with this quiz, you kind of got a better understanding of the careers that you might find suitable or maybe matching with your personality and work ethic. All right, so thank you so much for contributing to the session just now. Now let's move on to the next segment. And for this, I would like to invite Adriana Karim from UKEC to share the essentials of upskilling for tomorrow through skills and also certificates. Thank you.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Currently, I'm in the UK, so it's rather early for me right now. So I do apologize if I sound a bit too raspy at the moment. Um, yeah, okay. Before I start introducing UKEC, I'll talk a bit about myself. So I'm Adriana, currently a third year at the University of Oxford here in England. I'm also a Shell Scholar. I am the Deputy Chairperson for External Affairs for UKEC, and I've been with UKEC since like June last year. And a bit more about me is that I feel like I've been through like I grew up with this, if that makes sense, because like high school for me was about like 5 years ago, and I've been in exactly where you are. I was a participant when I first time heard about bass. And I remember when I was joining the session, they only had two speakers at the time. And then one of the speaker, who turns out in the end became my senior in Shell, he at the time was telling how he got into Cambridge. And then the other speaker was my senior from high school, and she was telling me about how she got into UPenn in the US and under Yayasan Kazana. And then once I got my scholarship, I am now part, well, at the time I was part of BASE, so I was the organizing committee. And I was just telling this to my fellow friends in UKEC, how, this like feels like a full circle moment because now I'm back as a guest speaker. And then I completely forgotten that there was this one time where me and my friend, we were practicing about what to present when we were representing BASE at the time. So it is truly a full circle moment for me at the moment. Thank you so much to BASE for reaching out to me. Okay, without further ado, let me just get to the crux of it and introducing Casey. Right, next slide, please. Thank you. So, what exactly is UKEC? So, first and foremost, we are a UK-based organization, and we represent over 79 Malaysian student societies in the UK and in Ireland. And to those who may not know that in Ireland, there are, or so to speak, there are two parts. Northern Ireland is part of the UK, whereas the Republic of Ireland is its own country. And there are about 16,000 Malaysian students in the UK and in Ireland. And our organization is non-partisan, it is student-led, and it is an independent government organization. And we've been around here for about 30 years. So I'm in the 31st Council. All right, next slide, please. Okay, so what exactly is UKEC? So first and foremost, we are a UK-based organization, and we represent over 79 Malaysian student societies in the UK and in Ireland. And our organization is non-partisan, it is student-led, and it is an independent government organization. And we've been around here for about 30 years. So I'm in the 31st Council. All right, next slide, please. So this is roughly how our organizational structure looks like. I admit it is rather complex, but just to break it down to you, my role, the DCEA, is part of the elected 15. So in order to be one of this position, you have to be elected, you have to present your manifestos, and your role will be voted. And then who will vote, you may ask? It would be the Supreme Councillors, and the Supreme Councillors are the president and vice president for Malaysian societies in the UK. So, for example, from my university, there will be two votes from my president and vice president, and that would go along to for other universities as well. And in some rare cases where we don't have a Malaysian society, but there is a Southeast Asian society, we would have the top two position within the Southeast Asian society because in some universities in the UK, there would be a low concentration of Malaysian students there. Okay, and of course in Ireland as well. Um, yeah, and then okay, so for our events, our annual events, we have four flagships each year with three events in the UK and then one event in Malaysia, specifically in Kuala Lumpur. So we have just concluded our first flagship in December. It's called Impact Stories, where we talk about mental health and social well-being. And then our upcoming flagship event, which is in March, this time will be held in Manchester. It's called Project Amanat Negara, PAN. We would have intellectual discussion and discourse, and looking at the topics this year is very, very interesting. So very much looking forward to that. And then next, arguably the biggest event so far, because I've heard of the Malaysian Career Fair even before I joined UKEC. So this event is held in Royal Lancaster Hotel in London. Actually, one of my representatives here, Alia Sabrina, the event director, is here as well. So yeah, and then have been to the career fair every year to represent Shell essentially. So yeah, and then last our most prestigious event is the Malaysian Student Leader Summit (MSLS). That's usually held in August. It's in Kuala Lumpur. So if you're still in Malaysia at the time, we would love to have you there to come and join us. And of course, we have our regional events organized across 13 regions within the entirety of UK and Ireland. So right now is a high time for us, for most of my regional chairpersons, my RC are organizing the events at the moment. So exciting times, right? Next slide, please. And within UKAC, there's 8 offices. So the first office is the chair's office, where they serve Malaysians through advocacy and activism. So for example, like MSLS, the one of our biggest flagship, that one is being organized by the chair's office. And then there's the regional office, that's my office. And aside from being the DCA, I'm also acting as the office head for this office. So we're here essentially to bridge the gap between our executive committee and the Malaysians in the UK through the Supreme Councillors, the SEs. And then we have the Secretariat and Strategy, where they manage the administration and organization, ensuring that we are operating at maximum productivity. And then we have the Treasury team, one of the most important office as well, because as they are handling our finances, so ensuring that we are basically staying afloat. Yeah, next slide, please. And then we have the remaining 4 offices. We have the careers office. That will be the event director, the team that will be organizing the Malaysian Career Fair. And then we have the Catalyst office, the main office that will be hosting Project Amal Negara, PAN. We have the Connect office that ensures clear branding and marketing of UKEC. And then we have the Cares office that educates and advances humanitarian causes. Also the same office that organizes impact stories. All right. Um, yeah. Okay, so that being said, that's like my brief introduction about UKEC. So if any of you guys are interested in coming to the UK to study, we would love to have you guys join our team. So at the moment we have 70, our council member is about 72 people. so for quite a large number. Um, so just to break it up a bit from me yapping, I just want to see from the audience, who's here interested to go to the UK to study? Maybe you could just do a reaction. Oh, okay. All right, all right. Okay, okay. Wow. Lovely, lovely. So I had actually back when I was apply when I was in like doing my A levels, I applied to both the UK and the US, and alhamdulillah I actually got offers for both. And like for me I feel like going to the UK, getting an offer from Oxford University was a really hard offer to turn down. So at the time, at least, I was very much into going to the US. I was 90% sure I was going to go to the US. But then the Oxford offer came in and it came by surprise. I was like, oh, okay, interesting. Then here I am now and no regrets. So yeah, okay. So in this section, I'll be telling you about what skills you should acquire in order to get the courses or more. But again, like I do geology, so I can't. Please do take my sharing with a bit of a grain of salt. But my team had kindly created this, and in our council members, we have students who are actually doing these courses. So yeah. Next slide, please. Okay. So I'm pretty sure that a lot of you guys are, at least one or two of you are interested in doing engineering. As a matter of fact, when I first started my A levels, I was sure I was going to be like an engineer. When I got the scholarship offer, it was for engineering. But then halfway through my A levels, I was like, okay, actually maybe engineering is not for me. So if any of you here are still unsure of what courses that you should do, um, worry not. It will all work out in the end. So yeah. Okay, anyways. So for engineering, roughly you would definitely need to like nail on your physics and mathematical skills. Um, the suggestion here is to practice like linear algebra to Khan Academy. But there are also other sources for you to learn about linear algebra. And then if you're interested in like electrical engineering, experimenting with Arduino or Raspberry Pi would be very beneficial as well. And like I've heard of the AutoCAD and SketchUp software to create 3D models. I've seen one of my friends from Imperial. He was posted on his Instagram story about his like how he's designing his project on AutoCAD. And I feel like that's very, very cool. So yeah. And if you are doing like A levels in the future, hopefully, doing further maths is definitely a plus one because as you go through university, further maths is like the baseline for like mathematics in university. Though I'd like to say that because when you're in the UK, whatever courses that you do, like your A-level subjects, doesn't really um, matter as much because you're all going to be learning it in university as well. Because as from my experience as a geologist in Oxford, right? Um, in the course page, they've mentioned about like, oh, you have to do like chemistry and or physics. I mean, you have to do maths and or physics or chemistry. And then when I go to uni, when I ask my friends, they're like locals. When I say locals, they're like British citizens. Some of them they didn't even do chemistry, some of them they didn't do physics. Um, but of course everybody did maths. So at some point, yes, it will be slightly challenging to understand the chemistry topics in university, but in uni you will definitely like there will be a section in the university course that will like making sure that everybody is on the same page. So, but as for engineering, if you are able to take further maths, that would be very much useful for uni. Right? Next slide, please. All right, for the medical and health sciences. So, um, I think what my friends who are doing in university aside from getting like a first aid certification and also like doing a lot of reading medical abstracts, right? other skills that you could also learn aside from the ones listed here that would definitely help you in uni is getting familiar with like Anki. It's like a flashcard like software. I personally myself don't really use that. Uh, but I see my medical friends like using those tools to learn is actually very beneficial because when you're in uni and you're doing like medical sciences, especially medicine, you would have to memorize a lot of stuff. So, just flashing out flashcards and doing active recall would definitely benefit. And like if you are able to get like a first aid certification, that'd be great because even I myself not doing medicine, but because my course requires a lot of field trips, I actually went to Ireland for a field trip for 5 weeks. And before going for that trip, everybody in my cohort in uni, we had to do like a wildlife medical training course. So I guess when you're doing a course like mine where you do it with a lot of outdoors, having the certification will definitely benefit you not just when you're studying medicine as well. So yeah. And like it's very interesting that my friend I see like, having to learn Latin or Greek root words because I don't know, but at least maybe for me, at that one point I was very like my content on my TikTok was talking about like linguistics and how it was like this one guy, he's in Oxford, and then he's been interviewing people, and then this is one person who's doing like linguistics, and like he was asking if it helps like for medicine students to learn this, and he was like, yeah, it actually helps. Because a lot of the names of the organs, I'm not too sure. They do like retain the names from like Latin. And also if you go to Oxford, right? There is like there's like this myth going on that, oh, is it true that in order to go into Oxford you have to learn Latin? I'd say no, it's not true. You have to know English and that you're good enough. But there are some occasion in Oxford where they still use Latin. So for example, like matriculation, that's where you are officially inducted in the university. The vice chancellor will chant in Latin. So yeah, it's quite interesting for me. Next slide, please. Okay, next is business and economics. So I feel like aside from, like having like a rough understanding about what's going on, being updated with the news, mastering Excel, I think that's very, very important, not just for business and economics, but generally if you are working towards like career. Because I'm in my third year of uni and graduation isn't too far ahead. So that would also mean um, the start of my career is also happening soon. Um, and also being with the KEC, right? Um I say it's like a microcosm of like being in the corporate world. I look at spreadsheets for long hours for the KEC and also for my own academic endeavor because like for example the field trip that I'm working on, my report, we are synthesizing a lot of data, so being technologically adapt to would definitely help you in the long run, not just for this course, but for many aspects of your life. Um, yeah, and I'm not sure if like some of you here are already like interested in trading and like stock market and stuff like that. But I'm pretty sure at least one or two of you are interested. So it would be very beneficial for you if you would like would are actively reading in current news. So yeah, right. Next slide, please. And then for the law and the humanities. So for law, right? A few of our council members, they are doing law, and I kid you not, it's really like I really like hearing them when they talk because it's like because if you look here, right, we're suggesting for you to like watch moot court videos on YouTube because it's to practice your communication skills. So um definitely try and join like organization like Toastmasters to practice on this because like for those who may not know moot, correct me if I'm wrong, mooting is like a simulation as if you're in court. So you have to present your case and stuff like that. But beyond those skills, right? Being able to like read a lot of complex material, it is also like an important skill to acquire as well in order to do these sort of courses. So yeah. So that's why like it was highly successful for you to like practice summarizing 20-page articles into five like key bullet points. And also if you're also interested in the sciences, at least right now I'm doing my research as well, right? You would have to deal with a lot of like a research papers that are like 20 pages long. Some of the papers that I have to read are like 40 pages long, and you'd have to like do a presentation on it or like an essay about it. And then so this is like a skill that's like quite useful across the board, not just for the law and humanities. So yeah. Okay. Next slide, please. All right. And then for computer science and IT, don't just know code. I can't emphasize that enough. Especially now that in uni, I would say coding isn't only within like this realm. As an earth scientist, I do it a lot of code. As a matter of fact, on my other tab on my computer right now is my code for my research. And I've had a few talks with my seniors who did like economics and even in uni. She was actually in LSE, she graduated like last year. And then she was telling me about like how she herself had to do coding. So but of course, when you're in uni, like there will be opportunities for you to learn how to code. But if you're interested in using your time right now, in between after SPM and before like starting uni, having a grasp of like how to code would be very beneficial. Those are like being able to code is one of the things that I wish I had learned earlier because my first time ever starting coding was back in 2023, my first year of uni. But God bless my uni that they had like a course for us to basically how to code. And I remember my partner at the time, he has done coding like since like his O levels. So he already had a head start. And like I remember having like one-to-one session with my tutor to just like digest and churn how to code essentially. And like one of the biggest tips that she told me, it is surprise surprise to use ChatGPT with like how to learn code, not to make your code. Because like at least for in uni, it is inevitable that you will be exposed to AI. And as a matter of fact, like also just like at least last year, they've given like free ChatGPT 5 to all of their students. And they've also stressed on about like how to be like ethical about it. So whenever you're using coding, when you're in uni later, you would have to like cite it in your references and research essentially, if there's any use of AI. So being ethical about like AI is super, super important. It is a very useful tool, but never let it get the best of you essentially. Okay. Yeah. Next course. Okay. So for this one, okay. It's like it's very creative. I myself have not met like someone I know personally who does architecture and design, at least not in the UK. I know some of them in Malaysia. Um, but I guess like being very precise about like when you're doing your sketches is very important and being accurate. So attention of detail is very, very important should you wish to pursue this course. And like learning Adobe Photoshop or Illustrator for digital layouts would be very useful. But again, like these sort of software, like at least for Adobe Photoshop, they're like paid softwares and they're very, very expensive. So if you have the capacity and you're interested in doing that, by all means, definitely go for it. But I'm pretty sure there are other sources online that would have like give you other options, and more often than not, there should be at least one or two softwares that would be like free for you guys to learn a bit about it. So yeah. And um at least for in today's world, everyone is working towards like sustainability, um, and towards like green energy and the green ecosystems. So researching about green building materials to fit into your design is definitely like very beneficial. So yeah, next slide, please. Okay, so yeah, so the first six courses that I mentioned, those are like the hard like skills that you should definitely learn for specific courses. But when you're in uni, um, it's beyond than the classroom. It's more than that. So like for example, like being financial literacy. Um, my first time ever like really like using like Google spreadsheet to like check on my finances was like in first year, and like it I can't emphasize enough for you to like actually keep track of your own finances, because when you're a scholar and you're in a different country, right? Especially in the UK, some things can go very expensive. Though I would say that groceries here are quite cheap. So that's a blessing in disguise. So being able to manage your finances is part and parcel of like adulting. So that's what you would do in uni anyway. So if you have the time and you want to like start learning that, I would definitely advise you to do so in the time being. And then like working on digital productivity, such as mastering Notion and Trello, would be very useful. Um, but aside from these two softwares, right, at least personally for me, I use my like calendar, my Apple Calendar, like religiously, because and like I said, right, I am in uni, and like it's a rather demanding course, because we have, at least in my second year, our lectures go for long hours, and we have a lot of tutorials, a lot of deadlines, and you would need to be on top of that. And then now I'm also part of UKEC, but at the same time I want to have like a life. So literally in my calendar I block in like, okay, this is the time for me to like log off and like have fun with my friends. So if you guys have the time, definitely learn how to integrate different calendars into like one main calendar. That would definitely help. At least for my Apple Calendar right now, I have my Outlook calendar for my uni, and then my other Outlook calendar for UKEC, and then my Google Calendar for my personal endeavors. So yeah, definitely learn how to basically manage your time essentially. And then if you are interested in going like in a country where English isn't the main language, so for example like Germany, in France, or in Japan, learning these languages are very, very important as well. Yeah, and then intercultural skills, being able to basically mix around with other people, because for me, how I view of like studying overseas, right, it is an incredible privilege. And in your time studying abroad, I remember my seniors at Shell, they've been like advising us, oh, don't just stick with Malaysians, but like also like meet around with people who are of different nationalities, because this is where, as an international student, this is where you meet people from all parts of the world. So, use that time to basically do that. And you'd be surprised yourself. So, yeah, when I went for my field trip in Ireland, there were three of us. Um, and then I'm very, very fortunate that one of my other classmates is also Malaysian. So naturally, I already had like a default friend at the time. But not many can say that when you're in Oxford, because there are not many Malaysians to begin with. And my other teammate is Liz. She is a local here, and she's such a sweet girl. As a matter of fact, we're actually gonna have ice cream after this. So yeah, really fun. So yeah, next slide, please. And yeah, so how, like I said, like you could go for programs, or just basically like be more present when you're in class, and participate in like group discussion and stuff like that. And then for like key life skills, that corporate, I mean, I think at the moment, because you're fresh out of high school, it's more so to build on like communication skills. So yeah, and like I won't stress too much about like thinking about what corporate or companies would look for, at least not at this stage. Yeah. And yeah, so other things that you can do also like with daily habits, like reflect on and experiences and basically after every day, I guess what I like to do is just sit down and just like plan what I should do next. Because when you're in uni, you are independent and the time that you have is for yourself. So knowing what to do with your time is essential is so important. Yeah. Next slide, please. Um, yeah. Okay. So again, won't stress too much about this because you guys just finish your SPM. But like a lot of these things that's on the screen right now, yes, it's useful for corporate, but also it's useful like as a general like life skill. So yeah, next slide, please. Okay, and then just like show you some pictures and experiences back like from my journey. So I start off with like being a shell scholar, uh and like especially right now you guys are like would like to apply for scholarships. Definitely start applying early. And then um we'd like to do like the star method. I do apologize, I can't remember what each letter exactly is right now. But it's like a tool for you to prepare when you're like going for your what you call it, for your interview essentially. And then I like to like emphasize that like whatever case that you would like present during your interview, right? Because I acknowledge that, you know, like not everybody are in a position where like, oh, I'm a head boy, because and like not, I mean, not everybody has the same opportunity essentially. I remember back in high school, there was this one time, so it was like during COVID. And then this was the story that I told during my interview. I told them how like, oh, because I'm from Sarawak, right? I saw someone was mentioning that, oh, I'm from Sarawak from in the previous segment just now. Um, and then it was like an emergency. Everybody had to go back home. But at the time, flight tickets costed like the same price as from KL to London. Um, and it was almost impossible for everyone to go back home because it was the second round of PKP at the time. And I was telling my recruiters how when the first time I told my principal that, oh, what about me and the other Sarawakian kids just like stay at the Yayasan Sarawak house and not in school because I went to a boarding school. Um, and then my principal very much adamant about like, okay, you know, you guys have to stay in school. But you know, it's a big school, it's a big structure. And then there were only like 3 to 4 of us. We don't want to be there. Like it's so sketchy. So like so surrounded. Like in terms that we said back then was like keras, so we didn't want that to happen. So we're like, okay, I back off a bit and then just let my principal just cool down a bit and then go back again. And it actually worked. So at least when I was telling my sponsors about that, I was showing them my problem solving skills and at the same time my negotiation skills. I didn't really talk much about how I was like a prefect and all of that. So yeah, exactly, asrama things, you know. These are, and like when you go for like interviews, at least for like scholarship interviews, being able to tell a story is very important. Because it shows like, and when you're telling that story, also like because in a way you're also like showing them the skills that you have rather than just describing, oh, I did this, I did that, we want this, we want that. It actually feels different when you're telling a story. So yeah, and yeah, the first picture on the left, this was during the career fair. And I was moderating for Shell for the career fair last year. So this is before I joined UKEC. And then the other pictures at the right corner of the screen. This was like summer last year. Is where we went to like schools in Malaysia, specifically in Sarawak, to share about the Shell Scholarship Program. And then the picture at the bottom is just like us Shell scholars just hanging out. Our um, apa tu VPHR was there, Shazmi was there, so that was fun. Yeah. Next, is my experience in Oxford. So I've talked a lot as apa nama tu, I was sharing about the um what's it called? The courses. But I just wanted to show I the things that I did in uni. So I joined Taekwondo last year, and then that picture of me with the yellow hard hat, that's me on field trips. That's my friend. That's Sarah and Amri. And then the picture at the bottom is when we were going for a ball, and then the picture in the middle was me after a formal at St. John's College, and then the one below is when we went for the wildlife medical training in uni, and then the one at the corner is like a picture of a library. I think that's the same library where Harry Potter was shot, if any one of you are Potterheads. And then the big picture in the middle, it may look insignificant because I'm just holding two rocks, but those rock samples, one of it is from Mars, the other one is from the moon. So I was like joking around, like, oh my God, I have like the moon and the Mars in my hand, and I'm now vector from Despicable Me. But jokes aside, yeah, a lot of cool stuff going on. In uni. I love it so much. So yeah, next slide, please. Yes, and then finally, as like a UKC member, um, this is where I like really like hone on my professional skills essentially. So if you can see the picture at the bottom, the one in the middle where there's the Malaysia Airlines at the back, that was during a negotiation where me and my teammates we were essentially trying to like ask for Malaysia Airlines to be one of our sponsors. So yeah, I see Savvy like clapping and kudos to the careers team. Alhamdulillah, we pulled through. So if you guys are ever like in the UK, we would definitely love to have you guys be part of the team. And like I said before, VKEC is like a microcosm, like a platform for you to basically work on your professional skills. And the one in the right corner is during a visit, a courtesy call to the High Commissioner of Malaysia in London. So yeah, and the other pictures is me having fun with my team. So yeah, I guess that's it for now. In the interest of time, we can just go straight to what do you call it, to the Q&A session then. So if anybody has any questions at all, feel free to add your questions to the Slido. But if you want to ask questions in the chat box as well, I'll be here to read them as well. Okay, so how do I differentiate myself from candidates during interview sessions? So like I said before, it's like showing to the recruiters about the skills that you've learned rather than just telling them. Um, because it's so much different when you're telling them like for example, when you're like hosting an event, right? You showed to them, you told them in a story way of like, oh, okay, um, from day one of planning, me and my team, we had a meeting about this, and then at some point there's like a crisis happening, la la la, all of that, because it shows that how real it is, because having the credibility of doing that is one thing, but also just telling them just reduces. I don't know how to explain it further, at least not at the moment. But definitely show them and like practice the STAR method because they want to see like your capabilities, your achievement, and also like the results. So that's like another like abbreviation that I remember back when I was actually where I was in your shoes. We learned like learning about like holding interview sessions, stuff like that. I hope that answers your question. I do apologize. It sounds very messy at the moment, but yeah, let's just see. Does my participation any KC when I finish your studies? So it's like a when you are elected, you are basically working for 1 whole year. So that's what your tenure is. So it would end after 1 year. So if you wanna still be in UKEC as like an E15, for example, you will still have to run and get elected basically. Yeah. Skills. Okay. Let me. Okay. Okay. Maybe can just point to me which questions you would like me to answer right now. What are your advices who currently does not have any activities related to their passion? What can they do now? Okay. Um, I would say, um, because for right now, I'm assuming everybody here is like post SPM, so not even doing A levels or any pre-university yet. I would highly recommend you to start like working on something that is related to what you want to do when you're doing your pre-university. Because when you're applying to university, at least for Oxford, right? There's this section where you should definitely like include your super curriculars. So super curricular means things that's related you to your course. So for example, if I'm doing engineering, um it would give a lot of weightage if you had joined like R&D competitions in the past, because that would be related directly to what you call it, to engineering. But like for example, if you're part of the student council, um it's still something that's worth mentioning despite not being like, you know, like really directed related to your hard skills for engineering, for example, at least. So yeah. Um yeah, activities you should do also like post SPM. If there's one thing that I would do like back if I could go back in time, is to have more fun and you know, just like not stressing out too much because there's gonna be a lot more stresses when you're in uni, and I'm assuming when you're doing your careers later. But definitely go on more like you know, holidays with your friends and family. At least that's one thing I've wanted to do now, because so far I have not had like a quote unquote like restful summer, because I'm always like, you know, um going on for an internship or like going for like a passion project or something. So yeah, definitely have a lot more fun post SPM. But at the same time, you know, do something that you would enjoy and you could learn from as well. So yeah. Uh hmm. The minimum requirement to enter Oxford University varies between courses, so definitely check the university page basically. Um, hmm. Any story or quote that inspired me the most during my journey so far? Keep telling myself it'll all work out in the end. Because like um at least I see myself as someone who is like a perfectionist and who strives to, you know, like I work hard a lot, but at the same time like I stress out a lot as well. But you know, trying to stop thinking about the stress and instead shifting that energy to actually get things done, and just telling myself it'll work out in the end, and just calm down and just have a good cup of coffee. There's a lot of coffee that helped me throughout this journey. I'll give you that. Yeah. I think that's all for now. But if you have any other questions about UKC, or anything related from today, feel free to basically there's our Instagram page, it's literally AUKC, so you can just text us over there as well. So yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Adriana. Someone really all-rounded that has hypothetically felt the moon's touch for those valuable tips on building our credentials. Now that we have the skills, it's time to learn how to showcase them effectively on paper. Without further ado, I'd like to invite Zul Aidan to the floor to teach us the art of crafting a personal blueprint using CVs, resumes, and also LinkedIn.
All right. Thank you, Yamuna. Hi, everyone. My name is Zalaidan. I am a PMB scholar, currently studying A levels at KYUEM and planning to pursue finance in the future. So, since Miss Ariana has taken quite a bit of my time, I'll have to go a bit faster, but before I start, I just want to emphasize that crafting personal blueprint can differ from person to person, can differ by a lot. So before I share this, I want you guys to know that that if that sorry, I want you guys to know that if you I want you guys to look at this as me sharing thoughts between friends. Why? Because I don't want you to the content of my presentation came from my opinions, my beliefs, my experiences, and my research. And since personal blueprints can vary from person to person, I just want you guys to look at my presentation as a student, not as a follower. Okay. All right, let's start. So, who here knows of the term personal blueprint? Anyone here has heard of the term personal blueprint before? Show of hands. Any reactions? I don't. Okay, I see one reaction, and that's it. One more reaction. Okay, that's nice. So I'm guessing most of you don't know what a personal blueprint is. So I am here to answer that question. In the literal sense, a personal blueprint means that a guiding framework or plan for your life encompassing your core beliefs, values, goals, and patterns that shape your decisions, actions, and reactions, essentially acting as your internal map for success, fulfillment, and navigating life's experiences. Now, obviously, I got this from AI, but there is something to take from this definition, and it's that personal blueprint means your identity. It means what makes you you. So why do you need a personal blueprint? This is because it answers three very important questions. Who am I? Where am I heading? And what should I do next? Next slide, please. Okay, so what is the importance of having a concrete personal blueprint as a post-SPM student, such as yourselves? Now, before we start, I would like you to take note of the statement I put here, which says, before choosing a course or university, you must know yourself. And in my opinion, I believe that this is the number one preparation you should make before you decide which educational path you wish to take in the future. Why? Because, first of all, it ensures you pick a direction in your education that suits you. Now, one thing I want you guys to take note of is that there is no right answer to this. There is absolutely no right answer to this. And you may never know whether you made the right decision or not. So what I suggest you can do is that you do what you can. You do proper research, get all the necessary information. And at the end, you let your heart make your decision. Let your heart make your decision. Next, it also protects you from external, it also protects you from external pressures. What I mean by this, for example, external pressures by friends, trends, FOMO, or parents. I'll give you an example. Say the trend right now amongst your friends is that you have to apply to computer science so that you can have a wonderful, wealthy future. And because of that, you choose to apply to computer science. Now, what I'm trying to tell you is that that is the wrong decision to make. You should never make a decision based on external pressures. Next, for another benefit is that it gives you constant motivation to push past your limits and comfort zone. Why do I say this? Is because when you know yourself, you know what you are working towards. And when you know what you are working towards, you are sure of everything that you are going to do, and it gives you fulfillment, and it ensures that you never feel empty, and pushes you to keep going past your limits and your comfort zone. And lastly, is that it supplies you with confidence to answer questions in interviews. Why do I say this? Is because when you know yourself, it is projected, the certainty of knowing yourself, it is projected in the form of confidence in how you bring yourself, in how you speak. And when you go through interviews, the interview in the interviewers, they can see that, they can see the confidence. So it is very important for you to have a concrete personal blueprint. Now here I also attach some nevers that you should never do when making your personal blueprint is that you should never go through life without goals. Goals are what guides us. We need goals to make sure our life is full of, it's not empty. And next, never make a decision from external influence. And lastly, believe you can't do it based on your current limits. Now, this is a mistake that most people starting to develop their personal blueprint make, is that when they try to set goals, they focus, they set it based on the idea of their current limits. And what I'm trying to say is that that is not how goals should work. Goals are meant to be beyond your limits. They are meant to encourage you to become a better person. So what I suggest you to do is that the next time you think, man, these goals are unrealistic, I'm gonna think more realistically and put goals that are only within my current limits. When you think like that, I want you to think back to what I just said. Okay, next slide, please. Now that we've covered the whys, let's move on to the hows. Here are a few steps to craft your own personal blueprint. Now, I have divided this section into two parts: internal, which focuses on your mindset, your principles, and your priorities. And then we have external, which focuses on your competitions, resume, and activities. Next slide, please. So for internal, I've written down 3 steps that I believe to be quite important. First step, first step in developing an internal personal blueprint is for you to start small by understanding your preferences in terms of food, fashion, leisure activities, etc. Now, I know you may be thinking like, Zul, what the heck are you talking about? This is like so basic. Everyone does this. And what I wish to say to that is that even though it may be basic, it still doesn't mean that it's any less important. So when you know of your preferences, you start to get an idea of what differentiates you from other people. You feel special, you feel unique, and then you will start feeling a sense of self, a sense of confidence and motivation to keep exploring who you are. So let's play a fun little game for step number 1, okay? Who here absolutely loves pizza? Show of hands. Anyone? Who loves pizza? Oh, I see a lot of reactions. As expected, pizza is arguably one of the best fast foods. So a lot of people here loves pizza. Now, who here absolutely despises pizza? They think it's horrendous. It's an abomination. It's an existence that should be erased from the face of the earth. Oh, wait, hold on. I saw one reaction. Come back. I'm trying to prove a point here. But basically, what I'm trying to say is that you shouldn't be afraid to have different preferences from other people. It is fine. It's absolutely fine to love something that the majority doesn't. Okay? So the next step is for you to determine the type of person you wish to become by asking questions, such as what do I value or prioritize in life? What personal goals would I like to achieve in the next month or week or year? This can help strengthen your conviction, and it ensures that you go through life unwavering, determined, and free from the clutches of the negative influence of society. And lastly, we move on to the last step, which is where you ask yourself important questions to determine the educational path you wish to take. And the questions can be like, what am I good at? Which subject in school did I much prefer compared to the others? So as you can see on the side, I attached an example. You can look through it. But basically, this example, it's not a framework for you to know what direction you should take based on what you're good at. But what I wish to show through this example is that this is how you should think. You should think what you are good at, connection with the courses that are available that you know of. So there should be a connection. Look for the connections. That is the last step to building an internal personal blueprint as a post-SPM student. So next slide, please. Now here I attached the Ikigai framework. I'm going to speed run through this part, but basically I attached this framework to help you guys determine what course you should take um, for your tertiary education. And just for information, ikigai means, in the simplest terms, it means reason for being. Next slide, please. So for this ikigai framework, it is divided into 4 sections. Now, let me tell you about how you can use this to determine which course you want to take in the future. First is what you love. What you love is basically what your interests are. And if you're not really sure where your interest lies, I wrote down a few signs for you to look for in order to identify what your interests are. And then once you've gone through all of them, once you've identified all of them, I want you to list them all down. List them all down. And then we can move on to the next step, which is what you are good at. Now, what you are good at can directly translate to basically your strengths. And clues to your strengths can come in the form of praises and remarks from people about your abilities. So I want you to be aware of those things. Try to identify what your strengths are. I wrote down a few examples there just for you to get a vague idea of what you are going to look for. And once you have identified them, list them down again. So now you have your interests and your strengths. Then we can move on to the next step, what the world needs. So now you want to tie what your interests and your strengths to how you can add value to the world. Now it can be through a product or service that has never existed before, or it can be through an already existing product or service. But as long as you can see yourself doing it and adding value to the world in the process. Once you've secured that part, we move on to the last part, which is what you can be paid for. Now, I think this is quite self-explanatory, but basically you have to find career paths that allows you to make use of the 3 answers to the 3 questions previously, and in order to find a career path that suits you so that you can gain money while also doing what you love, what you're good at, and giving value to the world. So what I suggest you to do is do proper research on the requirements of those career paths up until the very minuscule level, and then set them to be your goals. Because as I mentioned before, never go through life without goals. Next slide, please. Okay, now I'll be talking about external, what you can do outside of yourself. What actions can you take? So the previous speakers have touched on this, so I won't be talking too much about this, but basically you can join competitions or activities such as online courses, volunteers, and do productive hobbies for personal development. Next slide. Okay, so let's talk about resume. Now, this is an important part for anyone who is interested in applying for scholarships or internships during the break. So what is a resume? Basically, a resume is a compilation of all the things I stated here: profile, contact details, activities and achievements, leadership and positions, education background, and soft skills. So now, next slide, please. Let's talk about how you can fill in your resume ideally to make it appealing to recruiters. So first step first, I want you to take a look at the sample resume I put in the slide. I want you to take a look specifically at how she structures her sentences. You can see that it's not long. She has a lot of points, a lot of achievements, leadership, co-curricular activities, training that she attached, and the elaboration, the explanation are very short. So what you can get from this is that for a resume, you should always ensure that your sentences follow a proper format. Keep it short and informative. Now next, what you can do for each part of your resume is you can follow this format that I provided with you. So let's start first with profile. For profile, you can write about 1 to 3 sentences, and it has to include who you are, your interests, your past efforts / future plans relevant to the interests. And then you can look through the rest of the format, but basically for the date range, what that means is basically, for example, for leadership, if you were the Ketua Murid, you can write Ketua Murid. And then in the next column, you write 2024 to 2025, for example. So that's what I mean by date range. And then the next do you have to do for a resume is make sure to prioritize more significant and latest content up to a maximum of like 5 years. Why do I say this? Is because recruiters want to see your qualifications for what you are applying for, and what you are applying for is will most likely be where your current interest lies. So you want to show what have you done in the most recent 5 years that can ensure that you are qualified for what you are applying for. Next slide, please. So here are some don'ts. I mentioned this all just now, but long sentences with unnecessary explanations, please don't do that. Inconsistent format, don't do that. And don't list down all the activities or achievements, positions throughout your entire life. Keep it to a maximum of latest 5 years. Okay. Next slide, please. Right, so I'll go through this very briefly, but the difference between CV and resume, I think there was a typo here. Resume was supposed to be in CV and CV is supposed to be in resume. But basically, a CV is a more detailed version of your resume. It shows more of who you are. It prioritizes telling a story more than showing your qualifications for a certain specific job. Next slide, please. Okay, you can read through this later. Next slide, please. Okay, so here I want to show you an example. This is my CV. For profile, I want you to take a look at my profile first. As you can see, I wrote down who I am, a driven PMD scholar, blah, 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 blah. My interest, which is passionate about global markets and economic strategies, and then my future plans relevant to the interest, which is aspiring to pursue finance at the world's top universities to contribute to Malaysia's financial growth and innovation. So that is an example of how you should format your profile ideally. And you can look through the rest of how I made my CV, but basically structure your sentences like this for both your CV and your resume. It's just that the only difference is how much you put in your CV and your resume. Resume is less, CV is more. Just remember that. And I also want you guys to take note of the fact that I put my achievements, my positions, all my stuff in opposite chronological order. I went from 2025 and then 2024, 2023, and then the previous years and so on. So why I did this is because when the recruiters go to through your resume, they want to see your top qualifications, your recent qualifications. So you want to show what is most significant, what is most latest. So it is important that you put your most recent activities, your most recent accomplishments, positions at the very top, and then go down as you go back in time. Okay. Next slide, please. Now here, this is the last page of my CV. I just want you guys to take note of the last part, which is certifications. The important part about resume is that you make sure that there are no blank spaces. What the recruiters want is not to see an empty resume or a resume filled with barely anything. They want to see someone full of qualifications. So my suggestion to you is that if you lack in a certain part like leadership or achievements, you can put in some other stuff like your certifications or maybe courses you took online. You can put those things as well. Those things are relevant. They are very much relevant. So when you want to make your resume, prioritize making it look as appealing as possible. Make it look as if you are very qualified for the thing you are applying for. Yeah. Next slide, please. Okay, LinkedIn, I don't have much time, so in the interest of time, you guys will have to read this part on your own, but next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay, yeah, so any quick questions, like maybe one question? I can answer one question before we move on to the next session. Tak ada, eh? Okay, no more questions. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening to my sharing session. That is all from me.
Thank you so much, Zul, for helping us polish our professional image with profiles ready. Let's look at the next academic step awaiting you guys. For our final session of the day, I would like to welcome Fahim, Karatun, and Adli Rahimi to help you navigate the pre-U pathway and explore your best routes forward. Please welcome them.
Last session, which is navigating pre-U. My name is Adli. I am a GPA scholar studying Foundation in Life Sciences at University Malaya. Um, can you guys hear me? This way, guys. All right. So can we move on to the next slide? Okay. So what is pre-university programs? So it's basically an academic programs that serve as a bridge between secondary education and undergraduate studies. It is basically to prepare you guys for your university or degree. Next, please. Next slide, please. Okay, so I'll be talking about foundation and UPU pathways. So to keep it simple, foundation is a fast track program which usually for 1 year, consisting of 2 or 3 semesters, and it is available at public universities and also in matriculation. Next slide. So there's 2 types of foundation, which is asasi terbuka and asasi tertutup. Alright, so to keep it simple, asasi terbuka is if you are very sure, asasi terbuka is for students who want to keep their options open because it is highly flexible. You can choose a degree in another IPTA. But for asasi tertutup, you need to continue a degree in the same universities. So for asasi terbuka, we have PASUM or Asasi University Malaya, Asasi UiTM, except for Foundation in Law UiTM, and Asasi Pintar. So for Asasi tertutup, we have Asasi Sains Pertanian UPM, Asasi UIA, and Asasi UPNM. Next slide, please. Sorry, I have to be a bit. We are running out of time. So one of the pros of studying foundation is that you will have an early exposure to university life. So for example, in UM, if you're studying foundation in UM, you will share a lot of facilities with degree students. So this will definitely help you to prepare for your degree life later. And for you guys who still want to study overseas, although you guys are studying foundation, for some universities such as UM and UiTM, you can apply to study overseas with your SXC result. And the drawbacks of studying foundation is that you will be in a constant state of high pressure and fast pace. So this is basically because Asasi is very short, so everything is fast and compact. And there's a thing that we call a specialization trap. So for example, if you're studying engineering, and you realize halfway that you want to study pharmacy, for example. So you might have to restart from the start because you don't meet the requirement for a heavy degree. Yeah. So make sure you guys are confident about what you guys want to do. Okay. Next slide, please. Next, I'll brief you guys about UPU. So to keep it short, UPU is basically like online application system for IPTA in Malaysia. Next slide. And these are some of the important advices for UPU based on my own experience. So first of all, please download UPU Pocket to get information. In UPU Pocket, you can get everything that you need about certain courses. And it also has calculator merit, which is going to be very helpful during your phase 1 and phase 2 application. Next is to ensure that you are confident in your selection and have thoroughly researched course or university before listing it. And then, if you pass the Sharat Am and Sharat Has, please check the merit. If your merit is low, you can still apply, but please bear in mind that it is going to be very competitive. And last but not least, and the most important one, is to never submit your application in the last few days before closing. This is because the traffic will be very bad and you might not be able to finalize and update your UPU online. And next slide. Yeah, I think we can open Fahim.
Okay. Assalamualaikum and good evening. My name is Fahim. I'm a Yayasan Naga National Scholar. My intended course is Electrical Power Engineering, and I'm currently doing my A levels in KYUM. So let's just have a quick summary of A levels, STPM, and matriculation. So let's go to the next slide. So what is A level and who is it for? So basically, people who do A levels, they are already planning to pursue their studies in the UK or overseas because it's also highly recognizable by other countries that you can see: Canada, Australia, New Zealand, a lot more other European countries. Next. Okay, so here are just a few places for you to do A levels. Like my personal favorite is College SIUM, KIUM, KTJ, any College Mara like College Mara Banting, College Mara Seremban, Taylor's University, Sunway University, and you can do your research yourself. There's a lot of places for you to do A levels. Next. So how does it actually work? So A levels is divided into two parts, I can say. It is AS, your first year, first and second sem, and A2, third and fourth sem. So you will have a big examination at the end of your first year, at the end of sem 2, and also a big exam at the end of your fourth sem, second year. So your AS plus A2 will equal to your overall result of A levels, which is 50% AS and 50% A2. And it is fully exam oriented. It does not like require little marks to be carried forward for your assignments, coursework, or quizzes. It's fully exam based, and it is assessed through grades instead of CGPAs, A, B, C, D, and it goes down the line. Next. So usually people who do A levels has a few. They can take 3 or 4 subjects. Like myself, I'm electrical power engineering. My subject combo is mathematics, for the mathematics, physics, and chemistry. But for example, those who do law, they can also take law, economics, psychology, history. So depends on your course. Next. So let's go to STPM next. So I guess we are actually running out of time. So you can read STPM matriculation for yourself, but both of them is basically for you to do. Those who apply for STPM matriculation is for those who want to apply locally, usually, but still you can still apply overseas. But usually people do A levels because we are running out of time. So I think you can skip towards international baccalaureate IB. Bye bye. Thank you.
Hello everyone. Can you guys hear me? Okay. My name is Karatan Ayana and I am currently a YTP Mara scholar in College Mara Banting. So I'll be explaining a bit about the IBDP program. Okay, so what is IB? IB is basically a 2-year pre-university course and it's recognized by top universities worldwide. So it prepares students for university-style learning and independent work. So IB, I can say, is definitely for people who like enjoy understanding what they study and people who don't really like focusing on exams like 24/7. Okay, next. So places to do IB under scholarship are, okay, there are three scholarship bodies that sponsor IB, which is YTP Mara, JPA, and YTN. So there, some of the schools are College Mara Banting, like me, but there's also YTN scholars in College Mara Banting, as well as JPA and YTN also send their students to TKC and MCKK. Okay, next. So how does it work? Okay, basically it's 24 months. So um, basically there's 6 subjects that we have to take, 3 higher level and 3 standard level. 3 higher level is basically more in-depth subjects, while standard levels are more surface level, as well as we have 3 core, which is EE, TOK, and CAS. Okay, next. Sorry, I have to speed up a bit. Okay, so students will have to take 3 higher level, and it's according to what course you want to take. So for example, if you want to do data science, you will have to take maths higher level or physics higher level. Or if you want to do econs, you will have to take economics higher level. And for TOK, EE, CAS, TOK is more like, simply said, it's like critical thinking. Whereas extended essay is where we have to write a 4,000 word essay on our subject of our choice, any subject, as well as CAS is basically it's creativity, activity, and service, where we have to do community service and all stuff like that. Okay, next. So the grading system is over 45. So for one subject, it's out of 7. So the grades are 1 to 7. And for the core, TOK and EE, it will be given 3 points. So maximum will be 45. So there's 2 types of assessments, which is internal assessment, which is where you do coursework, which is 20% or 30% of your grade, and 70% of your grade is the final exam. So that's why it's like free marks in a way. If you do your internal assessment, very good. So yeah, that's next. Yeah, that's basically it for IB.
All right, thank you so much for our final group of speakers for clearing the roadmap. What an incredibly insightful day it has been. Before we end this workshop, I would like to just elaborate on a quick few things. Firstly, please scan this feedback form on the screen, or you may take a screenshot and get it done so that we can keep improving these sessions based on the feedback that you give us. Secondly, we'll also be uploading today's slides into a resource pack on our website, and this website will be publicizing it on our Instagram soon. So make sure to follow us on our socials so that you don't miss that out or any future updates. One last secret, our Pinnacle workshop is happening next month, and we'd love to see all of you there. We will be also having mentorship opportunities online where you can reach out to our scholars and get assistance from them. Lastly, I would just like to give a huge thank you to all our speakers for their priceless advice and to all the participants for joining today's workshop. To all our future scholars, good luck and may the odds ever be in your favor. With that, I officially bid you guys goodbye.